very well known, but the masses in the end suffer. So this verse tells us, without going into further detail, that Allah does not want us to equate these two things. Building a masjid or taking care of a masjid is never equal to the purpose of a masjid. The purpose of a masjid is to produce human beings who have a lofty personality and who have great and lofty values. This is what masjid should be teaching. Not as soon as the prayers are over, then there is julus and processions and demonstrations and fightings and killings. What is the purpose of going to a masjid? Well, for most of the people in the Muslim communities, once they go to the masjid, they get blessings. There is no special efforts that they have to use their minds to change their past perceptions of life. The Qur'an tells us in the same chapter, chapter 9, verse 28. And I'm sure you've heard this before, and I'll put this as a question to myself and to you. If you ask the Muslims, why is it non-Muslims don't go to Makkah? And you will hear the answer they tell you. These non-Muslims, they're very unclean, right? That's why they can't go there. That's what they're taught. So I'm to assume that the Muslims who go there are very clean. That's why they go there. What is this cleanliness that allows the Muslim to go there? All kinds of Muslims, politicians, exploiters, dictators, all kinds of people go from the Muslim community, right? But any non-Muslim, whether you call him, whether he's a good human being or she's a good human being, she was our best neighbor, she was the person or he was the person who gave you tremendous rights in the country where you lived, while in your own Muslim country you didn't have a quarter of those rights and still don't have. But we have the audacity to say, oh, these people, they're unclean. Well, here is the verse of the Qur'an that people tend to quote to tell their masses that non-Muslims can't go to Mecca. In chapter 9, verse 28, the Qur'an says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. The popular translation, O you who believe. My understanding of the Arabic language and my translation, O you who are committed to peace, to living a life of peace, living a life of safety and security, you are committed to this for yourself and you are guaranteeing this to others, then know one thing. إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. The mushrikun is the plural. Men and women, boys and girls. إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. They have exhibited pollution deep down in their inside. That means they're badly polluted. Okay? And because they're badly polluted, فَلَا يَقْرَبُوا الْمَسْجِدَ الْحَرَامَ بَعْدَ آمِهٍ هَذَا. And because they're badly polluted, they should not figuratively come near the popular translation, the Masjid al-Haram. Although this expression of coming near here means that they should not have any role in being the ones who lead society towards submission to Allah. We have to ask ourselves, if this was a physical uncleanliness, a physical impurity, a physical pollution, then it was good enough to take a hose pipe and spray a mushrik, and he or she will become clean. This Qur'an doesn't preoccupy itself with these petty things. What was so serious with the mushrikeen and the mushrikat that they used to, before the revelation of the Qur'an, share in the responsibility of what was considered the safe haven for people, the haram. But how can someone on the one hand says that I am an architect of this building or this concept that represents human honor and human dignity and human safety and human security and human peace, yet at the same time they're guilty of aggression against these same principles and values? It was nothing more than that made them lost this opportunity to administer such a project in the community of human beings. It has nothing to do with a physical form of cleanliness. And it doesn't mean that because you and I claim we are Muslims, that we are not mushriks. It doesn't mean that. Anybody can make a claim. You have to prove, and I have to prove, that I am not a mushrik. Anybody can read Arabic. Anybody can dress like Muslims. Anybody can be part of a community. A mushrik is not someone who says there are two gods or more. A Muslim is one who serves two masters at the same time, that have conflicting philosophies. The Qur'an tells us in chapter 39, verse 39, ضرب الله مثلا. Allah gives you and me an example to think about. رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون. A human being who has numerous bosses, numerous partners, numerous directors, but are in conflict with one another. وَرَجُلًا سَلِمًا لِرَجُلٍ. And a human being who has only one master. هَلْ يَسْتَوِيَانِ مَثَلًا. Do these examples mean the same? If you and I are following too many dictations about values, about principles, about what life is all about, then technically, from the angle of the Qur'an, we are in a state of shirk. To be somebody who is only in ibadah of Allah, it means I should not be obeying different forces and different ideologies that put me in conflict with divine loftiness. So it's not because I say words of Qur'an, or I say words what are known of Islam, or I dress like Muslims and I associate with Muslims, that makes me Muslim. That doesn't make anybody anything. That just makes somebody a member of a club. A mu'min is somebody who has to prove through his life that he wants to live in peace, he wants to live in safety and security, and he is prepared to give those same terms and conditions to others. Abraham came to establish a society where people can be safe. So brothers and sisters, when the Qur'an speaks of cleanliness,